Hey, how's it going there, folks? Welcome back here to a Friday night update on the Earthmaster channel. Hope everyone's enjoying their Friday night. Well, technically, it's probably Saturday morning for quite a few of you. 11:50 here in the PM, California time, March 15th, 2024. We did see some activity stirring up south of the New Zealand area once again with another 5.5 earthquake down here across the Macquarie Island region. That one coming in just earlier this evening. About an hour later, we did see some adjustment up here across the plate boundary of New Zealand. Looks like that's around the Cook Strait area outside the Wellington region. A 4.1 coming in near the Crofton Downs area of New Zealand, 59 kilometers deep. So we're still kind of watching this area. We have been seeing some adjustment take place down here. Some bigger adjustment with a minimal adjustment here across the plate boundary, but we're definitely noticing that activity stirring up out here. We'll continue to watch that because New Zealand is definitely within these two zones here of highly active regions here recently. So watch for some further adjustment out there. Let's go check out the GeoNet servers here real quick, see what's going on. These guys reporting a 4.6. Now, the USGS, once again, let's go back here to the USGS map. They're reporting this as a 4.1. So take your pick, 4.6 or 4.1. Either way, this earthquake looks like it was felt across the area of North and South Island area. Mainly, well, look at that, almost 10,000 reports coming in. I doubt it was extreme shaking. I'm not for sure. And that's way up there. Look at that, way north. On the north side of the North Island area. So a lot of people like to be funny and, some extreme shaking. But most of the reports here are probably legit around the light and weak category. Either way, just goes to show you that there is some adjustment taking place here across the plate boundary with this activity that's been taking place north and south of the New Zealand area. What a decent signature. Pretty nice looking signature there that popped up. It does look like there was some previous earthquake activity there as well. There's the 4-pointer. It does look like there was maybe a 3.4 or 3.5 or so within that same area. Notice the deep earthquake activity once again here across the North Island area and the southern end of the Kermadec Trench. It's been a trend. You can't ignore trends here. We're just noticing a lot of activity back and forth here between Macquarie Island, deeper activity up north here, with New Zealand right in the middle. So continue to watch the New Zealand area. I don't think we're done yet, as long as this keeps up this little pattern here. 5.2 coming in here around our quiet zone, Papua New Guinea area. That still leaves a broad area of earthquake, or at least plate boundaries here that have not seen any adjustment. That includes the Solomon Islands area. Vanuatu did see a 4.8 here a couple days ago, but very minimal activity here in this region recently within this zone. But definitely active here across New Zealand. We'll continue to watch that. It's definitely looking like that wants to move down there. Further up north, not a whole lot of activity. A little older movement there off the coast of Japan. A little bit of clustering going on here across the Philippines southward. Not a whole lot of migration here across the Java Trench for now, but this area did get hit here a few days ago. So I'm not really too concerned about that. More concerned here with the back building of pressure across the plate boundary where New Zealand sits on. 4.0 coming in right now to the Middle America Trench, it looks like. That's going to be over here. Nothing showing up yet on the USGS map, but it does look like some activity stirring up here throughout the last 24 hours. The big island of Hawaii, what's going on out here around Pahala? A couple threes, in fact, a 3.5 out there. Well, I clicked on it and it just disappeared, so it looks like they downgraded it to 3.3. A couple other threes out here, actually, well underneath the Pahala area. This is very typical, and I say typical because this is typical activity out here as far as earthquake movement goes. No unusual activity to note here across the big island for now. Southern California, ooh, goodness, look at this right here. It's been a while since we've, well, We do see earthquake activity out here on occasion, but it just doesn't happen too often. Near the Coachella area, point 0.9. That is just off the southern branch here of the San Andreas Fault. Did see an earthquake up here earlier this evening as well, a little bit further north, just along the plate boundary of 1.1. So continue to watch that area as well. Not seeing any major swarms, no major unusual activity there for Southern California for now. Just these little hints here, just off of the plate boundary. Off of the monster, off of the sleeping giant, the San Andreas Fault. Not a whole lot through Nevada for now. Minimal earthquake activity. And a handful of earthquakes up in Washington. Nothing major. Couple ones going on. Yellowstone National Park, we did have some earthquake activity here earlier. Let's go check that out here real quick. See what's going on here with earthquake activity. Madison River, there's a handful of smaller quakes here. There was a little cluster right here that picked up in this area earlier this afternoon. USGS did pick up on it a little bit, just some ones out there. But it was a pretty rapid event there with a few earthquakes there in a short amount of time. Aside from that, and you can also see it here across the Old Faithful. But aside from that, that's about it. No doom and gloom, no end of the world events here with Yellowstone for now. There's that one earthquake up there outside Kansas City area, Missouri. Kind of an odd earthquake at 3.5 earlier this morning, my time, afternoon their time. Texas getting hit, not a whole lot there across the eastern portion of the country. The Atlantic Ocean, look at this. It's gone absolutely quiet after yesterday's events there of a 6-pointer and a couple other 5s and 4s out there. Things have gone absolutely quiet, but we are getting some movement here north of Iceland once again. That could stir things up out there across the area. Let's go check out the Iceland earthquake map real quick. Let's see what's going on out here. 128 earthquakes out here. A little swarming going on out here in the rift zone north of Iceland. Of course, we got bigger activity up north. Minimal activity across the main region here, but down across Grindavik, still seeing a handful of earthquakes out here. And if we check out the microquakes, the negative quakes there still show some activity out there. So, it's a matter of time, I suppose, before we see some further activity out here. GPS stations here across the Grindavik area. Let's go check it out and see what we got. I guess this is current right here. Let's see what we got. There's one there on the map from the 15th. Still elevated. We're lacking a little bit of data here, but we have been going up, so we're at an elevated level once again. Just got to watch for some earthquake activity out here, folks. Earthquake activity will tell us where the next eruptive fissure activity would or should take place out here. So we'll continue to watch that. For now, a handful of earthquakes out there. We'll watch the region north and south there. USGS not picking up anything there north of Iceland. This is coming off of the EMSC model there for that 3.5 along the plate boundary. So got to watch it. We definitely have seen a lot of movement out here recently with all those earthquakes yesterday here across the Atlantic Ocean, Mid-Atlantic Ridge. South America, typical movement down there. Really not seeing anything of abnormal activity. I think the hot spot of movement out here is going to be New Zealand. It's just lighting up, and it has been lighting up like crazy here in the past week or so. No big quakes, but it's been very active in terms of microquake activity. And I can't really say a 4-pointer is a microquake, but lots of 3s, some 4s out there stirring up underneath the North Island area. When it says 4.1, looks fairly recent out here. That was earlier this afternoon, it looks like, along the Java Trench. Goodness, excuse me. I was eating some jerky earlier, and it's got some pepper on it, and it was a little hot, and it's starting to mess up my throat a little bit here. So we'll try to get through this real quick without completely crashing. By the way, congratulations there to our member drawing, our member winner earlier Today, Albert Sanchez Jr., longtime member here, won the drawing this month. So congratulations to Albert. We'll do it again next month. All right, let's see what else is going on out here. Mediterranean area looks fairly quiet, aside from a handful of a couple earthquakes out there. Really nothing major going on, no big earthquakes. Again, the main area to watch, I think, right now is this back building of earthquake activity out here. We've been getting a lot of deep activity here in the Tonga Trench, a lot of surface adjustment here across the plate boundary. This is a divergent zone down here south of New Zealand, so it's adding further strain up here upstream across the New Zealand area, and it's just, that is some active activity out there. So I think it could get a little bit bigger. There's definitely some strain out there in the New Zealand area that we need to keep an eye on. All right, let's check out space weather. I'm kind of curious to see if we can see our old sunspot region. We are getting a pretty decent proton event kicking up right now from the there was a far side eruption here recently from 3599, which is a sunspot that's no longer visible, way off in the western limb. We're getting some of those charged protons here into the ionosphere at the northern region and the southern polar region here. Really not affecting too much aside from that. Most of the effect here is going to be some interference there with the navigation systems if you are up there in the northern section or the southern areas of the polar regions. Aside from that, really not a whole lot of effects going on there at the surface level. Right now, there is obviously a 75% chance for the proton event continuing, 75% chance for a C flare, M flare at 10, 1% for an X flare. That's probably reasonable. Let's look here at the UV filter rate. I think we see a glimpse here of former sunspot 3590. You guys remember 3590? That is the sunspot there. We can't really see it on the maybe right up here. I don't know. But 3590 is the source of the largest solar flare this solar cycle right there. 3590 happened last month. A beautiful X6.3 struck here. It did not produce an eruptive event, just a very impulsive X6.37, but that is the largest flare so far this solar cycle. And 3590 is getting ready to come back across the eastern limb here. It still looks quite active out here on the far side. This is the far side area of the sun. And, yeah, so that's what we're seeing. Look at this. This is pretty recent here. Just cresting the eastern limb. That's still a fairly active region. I think we're going to have to watch that. I do see it here, at least some bright areas on the UV ray right here. So we'll continue to watch that. That could play a part in producing some space weather activity here in the weeks, or at least in the days ahead here. It'll probably be somewhat visible tomorrow far as the magnetic structure here on the magnetogram. I think we'll get a better visual of that tomorrow morning. All right, no major roars in the forecast. I'm hoping, I got my fingers crossed, folks, that we can change that. I'm not wishing for doom and gloom. I'm just wishing for an Earth-directed CME that can spark up maybe some G2, G3, even G4 storming conditions out here. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, what else we got here? It's Storm Prediction Center. Did see, seen some large hail out there around Texas as well. Looks like that will continue overnight with some severe weather. The day on Saturday. Well, yeah, this is Saturdays, right? Yeah, Saturday. Does show some slight risk category down there around Austin and the Gulf Coast there of Texas, mainly for some large hail events once again. After that, things kind of minimize here. Not really seeing any major severe weather threats after tomorrow. And that's probably a good sign. I think those folks down there deserve a break. far as storm patterns out here, well, let's put this into motion. The massive low pressure up here north of the Great Lakes area, bringing with it some cold air, dipping down here across a good portion of the East Coast. Going to bring some well below normal temperatures out there. You guys have been cooking out there all winter. Now it's time to freeze. California, looks like we do have another system coming in roughly the 23rd. So next weekend, perhaps some rain showers. Back behind that, maybe some further storming going on. But got to remember these low pressures coming in there from California affect the weather out here across the plain states. And this could be a severe weather potential here. A lot of cold air in place and the warm, moist air coming up from the Gulf, creating severe weather potential. And there's another decent storm system here coming in around the March 27th time period there for Northern California where I'm at. And I think that may play a part over here. Well, it doesn't look too bad as it heads across the country. But goodness, it looks as though the pattern is favorable for wet weather out here in California once again. So I'm ready for that. This is the total accumulated precipitation runs. Little rain shadow there. Hopefully I'm not in it. But it does look like we could pick up a couple more inches out here by the end of March. April is normally dry out here, but it depends on the El Nino, La Nina pattern, if it's into neutral or not. And we're kind of drifting off towards the neutral zone right now, but it does look like we're seeing some lingering effects of the El Nino pattern out here across California and more out here across the southeast. Either way, this is the total accumulated precipitation out there. It does look wet out here through the end of March for the majority of the country. All right, what else do we have, folks? I don't think there's anything else. A little bit of activity there on Hot Caves, a little bit of activity on Yellowstone. No major earthquake activity there, though. I think the main regions we want to watch, though, is right here in New Zealand. Think about this. We just had a 5.5. About an hour later, adjustment taking place here across the plate boundary. It makes sense here that this is where the adjustment should take place following all the activity here recently north and south there of the New Zealand region. So we'll continue to watch that, folks, and report back on the activity. Have a good night. Technically Saturday morning. So we'll catch you guys back out here a little bit later today after a few hours of sleep. Have a good one. We'll catch you guys later.